What's up, you guys? Welcome. For today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys an eyeshadow palette declutter video. Now, hear me out on this one. I know I've done a few eyeshadow palette declutter videos in the past bit, and for the most part, I was pretty happy with my selection. But I want to say for the past like 2-3 months, when I kept like opening up this drawer, I realized how much I guess repetitive palettes I actually have, and just how many palettes just create kind of like the same looks basically. So I basically just said the same thing twice. I really want more diversity with my palettes. So I do want to get rid of a handful that I don't feel like are necessary to keep. I want to open up this drawer and feel inspired and feel happy and feel like so ultra excited to use my palettes. And lately, I don't feel like it's been that, you know? I'm gonna go through everything, and this is probably gonna be my last palette declutter for a while. And I wanna know from you guys, what's your favorite eyeshadow palette? Aside from indie brands, because I know you guys are obsessed with indie brands, what palettes are your favorites that are either drugstore or sold at Ulta, Sephora? Keep me posted. I would absolutely love to know, but let's get started. I might put some of these on Poshmark, might not, depends, we'll see. But yeah, let's see what I'm gonna get rid of. So the first palette I know that I'm going to declutter is this one by Ofra Cosmetics. It's the Self Love palette. So this I did use a handful of times. I wanted to love it because I think the color story is insanely beautiful, especially these two shades. But with these three, they're almost like a barely there type of metallic glitter shade. And it's too see-through for me, where I just kind of feel like I don't find use for them. And then these mattes just really don't blend out well in the crease. It just almost applies unevenly, I would say. So as much as I love the color story, I want to declutter. Next, I have my palette with Ofra, which I love. I use this all of the time, and honestly, sometimes I look back at my older videos and I look at my eyes, I'm like, wow, what am I wearing? And a lot of the times it's this palette. I just think the colors are great, and I love the fact that I get a blush, bronzer, and highlighter too. Easy to blend out, and these work really nicely. So I'm keeping this. This is a palette that I really, really love, but I find that I really don't use a lot of the shades. It's a stunning palette though. Like this pink one, this blue one I don't use too much. It kind of arrived broken, but I mean, you still kind of get the warm mattes in here. I think you could do a lot more with this one though. There's more variety for sure than compared to many other palettes that I have. So I think I'm gonna keep this one. I think it's really pretty, and the metallics really make this palette. Okay, so one I think I'm gonna declutter is, it's either between this, the Natasha Denona, I know, what am I doing with my life? The Natasha Denona one, bronze, or one of these palettes by Patrick Ta. You can see my laundry bin right there. I just feel like all of those have such major similarities, and I don't need all, I feel. So with the natural nudes, I really just stick to this side of the palette. I barely touch any of these. This is on the chopping block. Next, we have the original Patrick Ta palette. I don't know, one second. I definitely prefer this one over the original one. I just love the rosy tones of this one. It's the Major Dimension 2. So it's neutral, but it has a little bit more of I would say rose in here. So this I used to love a ton. It used to be my babe. The formula is amazing, but I feel like I just keep using the same shades and keep doing the same looks with this one. The more I use it, I just also feel like there isn't major versatility unless I'm dipping into this deepened, what is that, plummy type of shade, which I don't use way too often. So I think I'm gonna declutter this one. Yeah, it just really doesn't spark joy for me as much anymore, honestly, and I'm sure I can kind of hand it off to someone who probably will use it a bit more than myself. Okay, then we're left with these three. A lot of you guys are probably gonna be so surprised, but I'm gonna keep the Major Dimension 2 because I know I use this so much. I'm also going to keep the natural nudes. I do want to keep one from Too Faced at least. I don't have a lot from them really as much as I used to anymore. And also, I really do like this, but you could see again, so many of them have such major similarities that I feel like it's unnecessary to keep all. I think this one is one I'm going to declutter. I think it had its moment with me, but I'm so okay parting ways with this one. So yeah, I'm going to declutter the original Patrick Ta. Okay, another Natasha Denona palette I think I'm going to say goodbye to is the My Dream palette. I love the versatility of this palette. I love the different colors that are included in here, but I really do not use it. Like, I love using deeper shades occasionally, but now more than ever, I just really don't. I don't know if it's because I don't have all the time in the world anymore. Also, I do have the 5 pan palettes by Natasha Denona, and in those palettes, I just find that I have really everything I need, and sometimes with these bigger palettes, I just tend to, again, only use 3 or 4 or 5 shades, and, you know, I'm thinking I can probably, like, ship this off to someone who can actually use it and really just kind of, like, enjoy it more than myself. I think I probably use this palette maybe 4 times, which... it just doesn't make any sense. Come on, girl. You know what I'm saying? So, the Declutter, that one. I don't know if I have a little one of this. I don't remember. Maybe not. But if I do, I think I'm good to go. Okay, I think we're doing pretty good. I'm actually really shocked with myself. Next, I have the Going Coconuts palette. This is actually a new one to me. So here's what this one looks like. I'm going to keep this. I think it's really different compared to everything else I have in my collection. So it's like neutral but more cool toned, and I don't have a lot like this. You get like one deeper shade here, but really stunning like metallics here too. And it seems like a very easy palette to work with. So I haven't used this just yet, but very excited to. I'm going to keep the Mint to Be palette. These palettes by ColourPop are not like the hottest things ever, and obviously not comparable to Natasha Denona or Patrick Ta like at all, but it's a different color story. So like if Patrick Ta or Natasha would have such a palette, I would jump on it in a second, but I just don't feel like, well, I don't think any of them have any like green palette, right? Unless I'm mistaken. So I just love that I have the versatility. This is not like my ideal green palette of life. Like I wish there would be a deeper shade in here. I'm just thinking, 1 second. This is like a palette of mine that I'm like addicted to. Like seriously obsessed, but I don't know if they actually make this anymore. Like this is like my ideal green palette. It's like perfect. You get the deeper shade here, lots of metallics, mattes. You have a lot to work with. With this one, I might have to dip into another palette to maybe create a little bit more depth. I'm thinking, am I keeping this? Am I not? You know what? I have this one, so I think I'm okay decluttering the Mint to Be, and I'm gonna keep. Like this is the hottest ColourPop palette. I've gone like with every declutter. I'm just never get rid of this one. It's like the best thing to exist. Like this could be Natasha Denona vibes. Okay, just saying. Closing my eyes, if I would just touch this and feel this, it's such amazing quality. I'm just obsessed. So, anyways, I'm gonna keep this and declutter the Mint to Be. Next, we have the Cloud Spun palette, which is more of like your pinky toned, which I love. I do have the Natasha Denona Mini Love palettes, like both of them, which kind of give me like a pink vibe. But those are like, I would say, pretty different compared to this. I could probably mix those and this one together. This also doesn't have like everything I want for a pink look, but it still, I feel like, offers a decent amount. So I'm gonna keep this. I really want to play around with it and see what I can create. Okay, the next palette I think I'm gonna declutter is this one. This one I feel like goes through tons of my declutters, and just, I don't know why though. Like I never end up using it, and every time I want to, I'm like, nah, whatever, you know. This would be like the perfect full palette, and it is really pretty. I think what kind of like steers me away from this one is that each of these shades are insanely pigmented, like just like crazy pigmented. I would love to keep it for the yellow. If you guys know a good yellow like this one, let me know. I have one actually, my other Ofra palette, but I put those away because they're not available anymore. But I need like a solid yellow like this, and I feel like a lot of palettes don't offer that. But otherwise, like covering that up, it's just a regular kind of palette. You know, I feel like the yellow for me at least makes it. And yeah, these shades are just too pigmented for my life, and I go ham right away. So this, a lot of the times, could sometimes look like someone punched me, and you know, you can't go back from that. You have to kind of wipe the whole thing off and do it again. I'm not light-handed with really much, so it kind of scares me to use this sometimes. And also, it's a very typical palette again for me. So I'm gonna declutter this. It's time, you know. It's been in my drawer for a while, and I just see I'm gonna keep using it, but I just don't. So declutter this. Okay, the next palette I see here is the Lost in Love. I forgot that I even had this. Ooh, this is really, really pretty. It's actually much better. I think a much better color story compared to the Cloud Spun palette. Here's the Cloud Spun again. Just like a lot of lighter tones. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep the Lost in Love and maybe get rid of Cloud Spun, because I feel like I can do really everything I want when it comes to the pink life with this one, and it really includes pretty much everything I need. Like you could see the bottom shades here are saturated, and you can deepen things up and really like, you know, but you can also kind of keep it light with these shades if you want. Dab into this one lightly, this one. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this and say goodbye to this one. Okay, this is a palette that I keep putting back in my drawer, but it really is supposed to go like in a keepsake box because I don't use it anymore. I just keep it for sentimental reasons. But it's the original Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, which is old as who knows what. I think this is at least 8 years old. So I just need to find a better home for this one, like store it away and not keep it here because I feel like it's just taking up space and then it kind of like blocks other palettes. I forget what I have. So putting this away, I guess declutter-ish, but not really, but kind of like, yeah. And that goes the same with the Naked original palette too, as well. Not the second one, but the, you know, this one. Here's what the color story of this looks like. This was my first Urban Decay palette ever, or first palette ever in general. So it's probably like 10 years old. So I'm gonna say goodbye, put it away. This I do want to keep, even though I don't find myself using it as much as I would like. It's not a standalone palette for me, but the shades are insane and they really are just like, they top off any look, you know? So I have to remember to use this more. It's just an extra step for me to remember, but it would pair really well with the Patrick Ta palette that I kept, or what else? The ABH Cosmos palette. So pretty. I don't know, I feel like I can never get rid of that. It's just stunning. Okay, next I have the Denisa Myrex palette here. This is like, I don't know, I'm like in the middle with this one. I do really love the color story. I think it's gorgeous and you can do a decent amount with this. It's also not a standalone palette for me. Sometimes I'll do a wing liner and just put one of these on like the wing so it looks pretty cool and like multi-dimensional. But I wish this kind of included mattes as well, you know? Like I said with the other palette that I just spoke about, the Flower Beauty one, I don't really tend to use palettes like this if it doesn't have everything I want, because I just don't. And I know I haven't used this a ton. Like I really only like, I think this and this shade, and maybe, yeah, the 4 middle ones. These two I'm not that into, and these two I'm not that into, so yeah, you know what, I think I'm just gonna say goodbye. Maybe I'll purchase one of her like single shadows. Yeah, one of her like liquid type of shadows where I can use on top of my liner if I want to. Maybe a shade that I'm really into, but this is just really sitting here, and to be honest, I don't want to like let it go to waste because they're just so beautiful. So I'm gonna declutter this one. Next palette I have here is the, what is this? What Dreams Are Made Of by ColourPop. I think this is a good one. I just really also don't reach for it. It really hits home because it reminds me of like 7th grade vibes. I was so obsessed with Lizzie McGuire. I think I'm going to keep it for a little bit, and in my next declutter, which probably will be in a bit, I'll see, you know, if I use it or not, but I want to keep it for now. Okay, next I have this ABH palette I'm obsessed with. It kind of falls under the same category as like the Patrick Ta palette. I feel like I do get similar looks, but the formula of this is so incredible and I just really enjoy using this. I could probably dip into these two shades more because I usually focus on these and kind of create like similar looks with this. So maybe I just have to be a bit more adventurous with this one, but I just love it. So this I'm keeping. I would have to be crazy to say goodbye to this one. Okay, next I have this by Alter Ego. They actually sent this over, so it's practically pretty new to me. I have yet to try it, but I know it's supposed to be a dupe for the Natasha Denona. I forgot what that palette is called, but the Natasha one is discontinued and they have this one. This has a great versatility. Obviously, it was Natasha's work to begin with, but I could do so much with this. So I'm really excited to dive in and see what kind of looks I can create. Even though it is a bigger palette, I like that the pan sizes are a little bit smaller. So, you know what I mean? Because I don't feel like we need too much of one. So I'm very excited. I'm keeping it. The next palette I have here is the Natasha Denona Glam palette. With this one, I'm also just debating. I know I would probably have to be crazy to get rid of this, but I have the Mini Glam. And I think that that really has everything I really, really need. Let me check it out 1 second. Okay, so here is my little drawer of goods. Star. Here, Mini Glam. Yeah, honestly, it really has everything I need for the most part. I mean, it would be nicer to have maybe like 3 or 4 more shades. But I feel like I have everything in here, you know? I do really love this shade a lot. And then these are really pretty. Okay, I'm keeping it, fine. I'm not gonna get rid of it. I might be sorry if I get rid of this one. I don't have a lot of cool tone palettes, and this really is just a solid one. Like, I just have to use it more because I just don't use it as much as I would like, so I'm gonna keep. Next, I have this Tom Ford quad that I think I'm gonna part ways with. These two shades are very similar, and then we just have these two. It is very pretty on the eye, and I do love how I look with this, but it's not something I can't get with other palettes, and you know, it's okay to also have duplicates and stuff like that. Plus, it's Tom Ford, so it's a vibe, whatever. But I'm okay parting ways with this. Like, it doesn't like have my heart in that kind of way where I feel like I have to have it, you know? So I want to actually check other quads that they may have. I know that some of their cherry ones are really popular, which I would be very interested in checking out. But I think I'm gonna say goodbye to this. And then lastly, I have the Pat McGrath Utopian Dream palette. This does include the shades that I have over and over again when it comes to like these shades, but these are pretty unique to me, I want to say, and I do really love this one. I think it's very pretty, and it's every time I wear this I feel like I'm getting a look that is just the hottest thing ever. So definitely gonna keep this. Okay, that's it for this drawer. It's pretty dirty. I'm gonna wipe it down. Okay, so how happy am I with my collection now? Ultra happy. Again, you guys will have to let me know what your favorite palette is if I don't own it already, either drugstore, high-end, luxury, whatever it may be, because I do want to get maybe like 2 or 3 palettes that are somewhat different than these, that inspire me and help me create fun looks that, you know, I can enjoy and love. But other than that, I kept 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13 palettes, so that's, I would say it's a pretty good number, I want to say. I could probably put a few other things in the back here, but for now I think I'm going to leave it this way. Okay, and then as for the palettes I am getting rid of, I have 11 in total, but this one and this one I'm going to put like in my keepsake box, so I really only have 9. I think I might end up putting most of them on Poshmark because they're palettes that I purchased and they're high-end kind of like luxury palettes. But I don't regret anything that I'm decluttering, so I'm very happy with my decisions. And I think that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Let me know your thoughts and comments below, and I'll see you guys in my next one.